Hello again, Bat fans! In this episode we will check out a historically interesting Batman tale called Gotham by Gaslight. One night, Thomas and Martha Wayne return home with their son, but the coach stops in the middle of a dark and abandoned road. An armed man confronts them, and just a few seconds later, Thomas and Martha Wayne are killed in front of their son. The killer turns his attention to the kid, but a swarm of bats attacks the gunman, saving the young boy. The year is 1889, and the young boy is now a man. Bruce Wayne has traveled around the world to study with the most brilliant minds of Europe, preparing himself for a task only known to him. After years of training and preparation, Bruce is ready to go back home, to Gotham City in order to start his mission. On his way back to the States, Bruce comes across Jacob Packer, an old friend of his father who is also going back to Gotham. The reunion is brief, as once they arrive, Bruce leaves Jacob to meet with his trusted butler, Alfred, and together they ride on a coach back to Wayne Manor, where Bruce's cape and cowl is waiting for him. In the following days, Bruce talks to Inspector Gordon, who informs him that Gotham's crime has increased in the last few years, and to make things worse, a terrible threat has come to Gotham, and nobody knows about it. The nights of Gotham become nightmares for all the criminals when a dark, cloaked figure starts preying on all evildoers and saving innocents from the worst kind of people. This is Bruce, and the city has started to call him Batman. However, there is also another dark, mysterious figure stalking the streets of Gotham and murdering women in the most violent and brutal way. The crimes are similar to the ones that happened not long ago in Whitechapel, London. And for this reason, the people of Gotham fear that Jack the Ripper has come to their city. As a result, people start to believe that Batman is the Ripper. Bruce becomes obsessed with stopping the serial killer and spends every night on the dark streets. Unfortunately, Alfred can't explain Bruce's absence to the many visitors that come to Wayne Manor, including Inspector Gordon and Jacob Packer. Despite his best efforts, Batman can't stop the Ripper, who continues to kill women in the most gruesome ways. Inspector Gordon also becomes desperate, but out of nowhere, the police commissioner finds evidence that points towards the killer. The police arrive to Wayne Manor early in the morning, and Bruce has no problem with them searching the place, as he is sure they won't find any evidence to the crimes or his other secrets. Unfortunately, they find a bloody knife in his home, and Bruce is arrested. The trial against Bruce begins, and everyone seems to be sure that they have captured Jack the Ripper. District Attorney Harvey Dent, the police commissioner, and several witnesses provide evidence against Bruce, most of which is manufactured or mere conjectures using Bruce's traveling records and his unknown past. The only person speaking in favor of Bruce is Jacob Packer, but despite his best intentions, the city authorities are determined to use Bruce as their scapegoat to assure the citizens that they have captured the most important serial killer in history. The trial ends and Bruce is found guilty and sentenced to death by hanging. He is locked away in Arkham Asylum, where he will wait 10 days until he is executed. Bruce decides to use that time and asks Gordon to give him all available information about Jack the Ripper. In the next 9 days, Bruce studies and investigates everything he can to locate the real killer, but the last day comes and he has found nothing that would help him. However, in a burst of desperation, he finds the clue that he was looking for, and he learns the identity of Jack the Ripper. When Alfred visits Bruce, they switch places and Bruce goes out to the streets of Gotham to stop the Ripper. The killer is certain that Wayne will be executed at dawn, and he decides he cannot wait any longer to kill more women, to end his torment. Indeed, Jack the Ripper is about to kill another woman when Batman finds him. The Ripper starts running like a crazed maniac across the streets, and the menacing shadow of Batman follows him closely. The Ripper takes a coach and attempts to escape through the outskirts of Gotham, but Batman follows him riding a black horse. The Dark Knight jumps and tackles the Ripper off the coach, and they both stumble towards the entrance of the cemetery. Batman grabs the killer and tosses him inside the graveyard with contempt. Jacob Packer is Jack the Ripper, and all that Batman wants to know is why he murdered all those women. The man replies that it's all because of Martha. Many years ago, when he was young, Jacob Packer fell in love with Martha Wayne, but when he confessed his feelings, she rejected and laughed at him. Martha married Thomas and they had a son. Jacob couldn't stand the humiliation and he hired someone to kill the family. Thomas and Martha Wayne were dealt with, but the kid survived. Even though he had killed Martha, Jacob could still hear her laughter and his hate for all women started to grow. It became a compulsion. He started killing them and he enjoyed it. And now he's glad that Martha's son will be unfairly executed. It is then that Batman reveals his identity to him, and Packer is shocked by reality. When Gordon and the police arrive at the scene, Batman walks into the shadows and puts his mask back on. He tells Gordon that Packer is Jack the Ripper, and the man admits his guilt. However, before he is arrested, Packer attacks Batman, slashing and cutting his chest. Gordon reacts quickly and shoots Packer, killing him on the spot. Batman thanks Gordon before he disappears, and the police wonder if they should chase him down. Gordon refuses and tells them that maybe Gotham City has found a guardian angel and Batman will continue to protect and watch over his city. Gotham by Gaslight was written by Brian Augustine and illustrated by Mike Mignola, and the two of them did an outstanding job of telling an alternative history of the Batman. Not only is this story set in the 19th century, it also confronts Batman, one of the most iconic pop culture icons, against Jack the Ripper, the most infamous serial killer that has become like an urban legend. Those concepts together are already fascinating, and the execution is flawless. Think about it. Batman is a creature of the night, and back in the 1800s, nighttime was much more frightening than in modern times. There was no electricity, so all light sources at night were gaslights. The streets of Gotham are darker than usual, giving the city a feeling of dread and mystery that is always perfect for Batman stories. The presence of both Batman and the Ripper in this scenario creates the ideal horror atmosphere, which combined with gothic elements creates a most captivating story and leaves you fascinated as it chills you to the bone. Mad props to Brian Augustine for coming up with such a clever concept and writing it perfectly, and kudos to Mike Mignola for creating the perfect art for the story. No other artist could have illustrated a story set in the past and make it look realistic, terrifying, and awesome at the same time. There are so many great things in this story that stand out because they show the true nature of Batman. Like the fact that this Batman doesn't have gadgets as usual. This Batman relies just on his combat abilities and his detective skills. Heck, he even solves the case while locked inside Arkham, and then he captures the killer without even using a single batarang. This is the Batman. He has the wits, the skills, and the determination that makes the Batman work. So the next time you hear someone say that Batman is nothing without the gadgets, tell them to read Gotham by Gaslight. The only downside to the story are the Reaper's motivations. Basically, he was a serial killer because Martha Wayne rejected him. That sounds like a poor excuse, and it was all just meant to connect the legend of the Reaper with the Batman mythos, but in that effort, things become a bit forced. And it also makes the Ripper look lame. The story is an interesting reimagining of the Batman mythos, an alternative history before the Elseworlds brand was even created. And because it's a reimagining, it provides for clever Easter eggs, such as the fact that while Bruce trained abroad, he met great minds like the psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud and the greatest detective Sherlock Holmes. There's also the small cameo of Harvey Dent and even a brief mention to the Joker. The origin of Batman is also recreated, very similar to what we all know, but just different enough to make it fit the new scenario. However, while the origin was quite interesting, it was not entirely original. The concept was created by Bill Finger in the Golden Age, and it's the basic template that everyone needs to use to tell the origin of Batman. And the idea of the murder of the Waynes as an arranged hit was actually created in the Silver Age, when Bill Finger came up with the idea that Joe Chill was hired to kill the Waynes. But those are not all the similarities. Batman revealing his identity to the killer of his parents was also used in the Golden Age, again by Bill Finger. So in that regard, Gotham by Gaslight based much of Batman's origin upon Bill Finger's work, which may not be original, but it's still very clever. Batman confronting the killer of his parents was not a new idea, but I'm guessing it was used here because he was going to go through a similar scenario in the upcoming movie. And speaking of that movie, in the next episode we're going to check out a storyline called Blind Justice, the 50th anniversary publication of Batman, written by Sam Hamm, the same person who wrote the Batman movie. So if you don't want to miss that, subscribe now and come back for the next episode. Until then, Godspeed, my friends!